If you look on your question, you'll see there, they've already given you that. You'll see your users is there already, your type is there, and then your private with those things. 3 strings, 1 integer is given to you. So if you look at if you do, let's say 5 final papers, 1 out of the 5 is going to ask you to do this, the other 4 will give it to you. So it depends, not always given, but most of the time you'll get this part. This top part's always given to you, don't need to worry, they will always do that for you. They'll just ask you to sometimes create the attributes, and then we'll just create them. Alright, then our question. So then the following methods have been provided: the reset, the has expired, and the toString one. And then the set the sysdate is in that format. Alright, then 2.1.1. Write code for a constructor method that will receive the name of the certificate holder, the expiry date, the security code, and the issue number as parameters. Assign the received parameter values to the respective attributes. So this was not there, yeah?
Why did they put the constructor and everything, question 1, 2.1.1, all of that below implementation? What else? Yeah, why do they want us to put it there?
No, just ignore this stuff. That's always there, it will never go there. But just ignore it, it's fine. Yeah, it's just, I don't know why they do it, it's just stupid. Yeah. No, don't worry about that. Alright, so what you do then, you can do it anyway here, but they ask us to create a constructor. So what's our first word for a constructor?
Constructor.
Constructor. What's the name for a constructor?
Create.
Create. They said we're going to receive 4 parameters. Now these parameters you can call whatever you want to. Okay, I like to just say P for parameter, and then that's just a personal preference, just what's something I do. P. You can if you want to, but these are parameters, they're not constructors. Okay, so but then the first thing that we need to get is a name for the certificate holder. So we're going to call it P name, which is a string. And then the next piece is we need to get the expiry date. So you can also go up, you can see, okay, expiry date is also a string. So then we're going to get a parameter for expiry date. And then we need to get the security code. Security code is also a string. The security code. And then the last one is our issue number. And if you look at the issue number, it is an integer. So that must be our P issue must be an integer. Once we've done all that, what do? We press Ctrl Shift C, and it creates it down here for you.
How do you format everything? What functions that? Control Shift plus to make it
Second,
which function makes everything
Control D.
Control
D for donkey.
D.
D for donkey.
D.
Okay, so now we've got that, and we must just, they told us our parameters we must just assign to our attributes. You'll see all our attributes, they start with F. So it's just your F certificate holder must be our P name, and our F expiry date must just be our P expiry date, and our F security code must just be our P security code, and our F issue number must just be our P issue. And that's your constructor. That's all you needed to do. Just please watch out for this. It's a very common mistake for people to swap them around. To say P name is equal to the F security holder. Okay, that's the wrong way. It's a big problem actually. So it must be your attribute is equal to your parameter. Your parameter must always be on the right hand side. Right, then the next step they want us to do. Write code for a method named increase issue number that will increase the current issue number by 1. Okay, so we have to create this method. The first question you ask yourself, is anything going to be returned?
Yes. Yes.
Where does it say that? Okay, so when I ask this question, when you ask it to yourself, they will literally say, like, look at number 4. They'll say return a Boolean value. So is this one, did they say anything will be returned here?
No.
No. So if something is not returned, what is this? It's a procedure. If they said return, what would it be? A function. But in this case, nothing is returned, so that means procedure. They said the name must be increased issue number. Then you ask yourself, did they say anything will be received? Like here, they said receive the name and that as parameters. Is this one going to receive anything? No. So that means no parameters. So the only thing we do up here, we said it's a procedure. As I said, it must be increase issue number. You have to sort of call it the same thing they ask. Don't go now and think, oh, I can make it shorter or something. That's why you'll see in the question paper, they even make it bold. They want you to call it that. So just stick with it. And then we said no parameters. And there's no data type because it's not a function. So it's just that. Increase. No, only a function's got a data type. Because the data type is the type of the thing you're going to return. But a procedure is not returning anything. So it doesn't need a...
Doesn't care.
Yeah. This, I think this one. Alright, then you Control Shift C. You get this thing. Let me just take that out. Okay, my program just got a bit confused because it's the second time I'm doing it. So, oh, up here. Okay. Alright, so now the only thing they wanted us to do here was we must increase the current issue number by 1. So you'll see in our program, our issue number is the integer, our F issue number. We want to increase that by 1. So how do I do that? Yeah, you can just say increment our F issue number, and that's all you need to do. You're done. Okay, obviously you could have also, if you, those of you that don't know the increment thing, it's your F issue number is equal to the F issue number plus 1. Same thing, but that's all you needed to do. Okay, that was the second mark, or second 2 marks, so that's 6 marks already we've done. Then number 3, write code to complete the method reset expiry date. So they've already given us a piece of it. Then that will use the system date to reset the expiry date attribute to the digital certificate object. The expiry date must be set to 1 year from the current date, today's date, as it is valid for 1 year only. So they want us, your first thing when you read a question like this is you need to understand what do they actually want us to do. And in this case, they want you to take today's date and add 1 year to that. And we have to make that the expiry date. So if we played this today, they wanted the expiry date to be 19 June 2021. Everybody good? So that's what they want us. Our F expiry date must become today's date, but in a year's time. Okay, let's go do this. Everyone understand that part? What they want from us. Alright, so you'll see then our F expiry date has been given to us. You'll see it's a function, so that means, no, has expired, that's the wrong one, sorry, reset. It's a procedure, that means it doesn't return a value. And it's not receiving anything. So let's quickly go see what did they give us. Alright, so they've given us the short date format, and then what they did, they took today's date and already put it in that format. So, wait, reset, yeah, reset. Okay, so basically what they've done, they've already given us today's date. We've got today's date, and it's in that format. So we must make the expiry date S's date, but in 1 year's time. Okay, so who can give us some guidance? What can we do to make this happen?
You put it in a global variable.
No. Okay, with these ones, we don't want to use global variables. The answer will be, because I said the answer must be in our F expiry date, which is a global variable. So effectively it is, but you can't go make a new one. We must use our attribute. We must give it to our attribute. Alright, so who can give us some guidance? What will we do? How can we make this in 1 year's time? Yeah, still? Okay, it's fine. You did it a bit more complex, but it's good. Okay, so basically what Yastil did, he extracted the year, we add 1 to it, and we just put it all back together again. Okay, everybody good? Because it's, remember this is a string. S date is a string. You'll see it's on top here where they created it. Variable S date is a string. So we can't add 1 to this. So we have to just get the years out. But you agree when we get the years out, it's still a string. So we have to make it an integer, and then we can add 1. Then we have to make it a string again, so we can put it back again. Okay, everybody good with me? Sinavuyu? Okay. Alright, so I created 2 variables already, S here and I here, for the string version and the integer version. So, tabete, help us a bit. We want the S here. So I want to, from the S state, this is a string, I only want these last 4 digits. How will I, what can I do to get that? Sinavuyu? If I want a part of a string, what do I do? But how do I only get this piece out from a string? If I've got a string with all this in, but I only want this piece, how do I get a piece of a string? Yeah, copy. So we just use our copy function. Okay, Bayanda, what's our first piece in our copy? Sisu? Not the position yet. What's before the position? Josh? So first thing is, out of which variable do we want to copy? So we want to copy out of S state. Then it's the position. So now, where do we want to start copying from? Toba? Nope.
Oh, yeah, it's
The seventh one. Because this is character 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From the seventh one, we want to copy. And then, what is that last one for? Yes, how many characters? But in this case, we want to go to the end. So you could just leave it out also. If you did want to add it, 4 would be the right one because we want to copy 4 of them. So this is fine, but we could have also just let that out because then it's from 7 to the end. So now we've only got the year. So now we're happy with that, but now we need to add 1 to it. Punati, what will we do? Say again? Can we do this? Yes. Okay, what do I do? Alright, so we just take our S here, we make it an integer, and then we can add 1 to it. And that's our new I year. So now we know what the new year is. But now our F expiry date needs to be that plus the year we just calculated. Irfan, how will we do this? Okay, no, I don't want to use it. Make mine work. What I want this piece. S date, yeah. Okay, so his wording. Okay, but his wording is just a bit off in the sense that it's not from 1 to 6, it's from 1 for 6 characters. So we want to start at position 1 and we want to take 6 characters. So we're going to put that inside there. But now I also want this year in there. So how can I do that? Yes, so then we just convert that integer back to a string of my I year. And that's all you had to do. So the main thing was we just needed to get the year out, add 1 to it, and then just take the months and days again and just add the new year to it. And that must just be given to our F expiry date because I said the expiry date must become that. So yours would have worked fine, but can you see you didn't need to actually separate days and months. You could have just kept it as a unit and it's just sort of easier. That's fine. Yeah. Could have done that also. Okay, everybody good? Any questions on this one? Oh, good. So this question, if it was difficult in any manner or means, this is a question 1. It could have been in question 1 as well. This has got nothing to do with OOP actually. So that's why I want to say this because I don't want some of you to think OOP is difficult because you don't know how to work with this. This was just working with dates. The holidays were long for some of you, so and some of the others didn't think as much. So your brain might be a bit relaxed still. So that's why the thinking is a bit slow still. But don't worry, you will get into this again. Alright, then our next piece. So we've done 10 marks already. Now we're doing the next 5. Write code to complete the method named has expired that will use the system date to check whether the expiry date has been reached or not and return a boolean value. Right, so we go look what they've given us, and we see here has expired. It's a function of type boolean. So this thing needs to return either true or false. Everybody good? Then go look for it. Where is as expired? Okay, so what they've given us again, they've given us today's date again in that format. And we know we've got that F expiry date. So we have to see now, did the product expire or not? Okay, Toba, what do you think we must do? Okay, I don't want the long one, but go with what you did. Okay, no. Alright, it's fine. Okay, no, don't have to go that route. Okay, who did it in a short manner? It's literally like 4 lines. Yes, you're fine. Just went if. The F expiry date. Yes, okay. So, okay, so that's what a chunk of you wanted sort of to do. You just wanted to see if the expiry date is greater or smaller than, don't worry about that now, but we're going to compare the expiry date to the system date to then see if it expired or not. The thing is, both of them are strings. So how a string works, it compares from the first character onwards. And because it's in this format, the days are first. So what this will actually do, it will first compare the days. So it will actually say in this case that the 20th of June 2019 is actually ahead of 19th of June 2020. Because it first compares the days before it looks at the years. So the days are more important for it. So that's why comparing it like strings will not work correctly. Because in our case, the years takes preference. Years has got a bigger difference than days. But with strings in this format, because days are in front, the days takes preference. So this one's, when you're comparing the strings, it won't work correctly. But you'll remember, every time we got the date, if I wanted you, when you display date in the past, we just used the date to string to make the date into a string. And remember, date was a data type. So we must just do the reverse. We must just take this string back to date, so that you can compare string to date. Now if they are in date format, and now you compare them, now it works fine, because it's seen as dates. It will compare one date to another date. And now your greater or smaller than sign will work fine. So let's see in this case, if the expiry date is greater than the system date, has it expired or not? Meaning, let's say the expiry date. Okay, remember, for the expiry date to be greater than the system date, means like today's system date is 19th of June. Let's say the expiry date was greater, meaning 22 June 2020. Did the product expire? No, it doesn't. Yeah, because expiry date is more than, so it's still in the future. So because it's a function, what must we use here? So our result will then just be false, because it has not expired. Else our result must just be true. And that's all you needed to do. That's 5 marks. 4 lines. Okay, any questions on this? Everybody good? Right, then our next one. I'm going to skip this one quickly. I want to first do the toString. So for our toString, they said complete the given code for toString method. That will return a string that looks like follows. So it's a heading, then an open line, then like a heading, a space, and then the attribute value. Then an open space. Heading, attribute, open space, heading, attribute, open space, heading, attribute, and so forth. So they want this to happen. So let's go see what they've given us. So you go to your toString, and you'll see they've already given you the heading. Okay, what they did, they created a string variable. And they said, start the string variable with this heading, go to a new line, and then go to a new line immediately. So that leaves that one open line. Then take that string, add to it this heading, then go to new lines. Then this heading, new lines, this heading, new lines, and then display it. So if you look at this, so they've basically given us that main heading and then the three other headings. They've given us the main heading with a space, and then they've given us this piece, and this piece. So this piece is still missing, and all of these ones are still missing, and they're in a neat line underneath each other. Alright, so for us, before we go to this one, we want to first display that. So after this, neat space, the attribute, and then only go to new lines. So after this, before we do the new lines, we first want a nice spacing. How do we get a nice spacing? So our #9, and then we want the attribute, which is our f set holder. And then we want to go to the new lines. And then the same thing happens here. So here we also want nice spacing, and then our f expiry date, and then go to new lines. And this one also nice spacing, then our f security code, and then go to new lines. But then after this, they left out one more. So our S out must also become whatever S out was, plus, and then it's the heading for the issue number. And then the nice spacing. And then remember, our F issue number was an integer. So we need to change our integer to a string. And then you can have your F issue number in there. And that's all they wanted you to do. So we just needed to add our attributes and then just add this one line to it. Oh, so much shorter. Okay, so next time I will quickly mark the other piece for you. But those of you that realize that this one's answer is already on the Google Drive as well. I did upload the whole memo for this thing. But this one, I'll quickly do this next time and then we'll do the rest. Okay, with this, okay, I'll do it next time. Okay, thanks people. Please, those of you that are behind, please use the weekend, use the breaks to catch up. Come the breaks, copy everything you need so that you can catch up. If you can't work at home, come use the time allocated so that you can do that.